All right, what is up? We are live trying a new setup. So hopefully this microphone sounds better. Got a little feedback on the other one and one of the other deals. So hopefully this works better. But unfortunately, I got to show off a little bit on the sad side of things. Unfortunately, Bob Labonte has passed. That, of course, the father of Terry and Bobby Labonte. So just wanted to a moment of silence to start the show off with to him because that is definitely unfortunate. All right, so no good way to transition after something like that, but definitely legend. But the question that proceeds after the Martinsville race is the same question that proceeds after every short track race, and that is this going to be the short track package? Is this going to be what we have from here on out, or is NASCAR going to fix it? Like they keep deflecting and blaming Goodyear. Is Goodyear going to fix it? Goodyear going to come back with a softer tire? Well, NASCAR has already admitted that they asked for a softer tire at Bristol. So you would think NASCAR could have asked for a softer tire at Martinsville. Whether or not they fix it, we don't know. But that is the poll question, of course, because there are multiple ways to go about getting tire wear or tire fall off. And the good thing about that Bristol race is it showed us that the tire fall off was the problem. The tires are too hard. There's not enough fall off. The cars just continue to run the same speed like you saw at Martinsville, but at Bristol you had the tire fall off and for a much more interesting race. So the options to the poll question are give them a more power, baby, meaning more horsepower, make Goodyear have softer tires, use more aero and traction compound, continue to deflect and do nothing. 7% want right now that for them to continue to deflect and do nothing. 7% want more aero and traction compounds. 60% want Goodyear to have softer tires. And a more power, baby, is 27%. Of course, that comes from Donut Media, more power, baby. Yeah, those are the options for the poll question. And then we'll just sort of jump in here and see what you guys want to talk about. NASCAR once again sent Elton Sawyer out on Sirius XM radio to take the arrows for the team. So he once again came out and said, "Hey, we just need to work harder on it." I'm like, "Come on, dude! Like y'all been working harder on it for a long time. How about stop working harder on it and just freaking get it done? Just give us softer tires, give us more tire fall off." But that's my 2 cents on it. Glocktopus saying more tire wear. Yes, please hit the thumbs up button on the way into the chat. So yeah, that would be, of course, much appreciated. So hopefully, yeah, you can give the thumbs up. That is always a good thing. What's up, Octopus? I'm Mark Barnum. Happy BB live stream Tuesday. So happy live stream Tuesday to everybody. And what's up to you as well in between the lanes. Hey, what's up in between the lanes? Definitely helps the rush hour drive here on the West Coast. So what's up, all the West Coasters out there? Hope you're doing good. Sad news, y'all. Bob Labonte died, father of Terry and Bobby Labonte. Just want to pay respects. He was 91. So yeah, led a good full life. And he obviously I didn't know him or anything like that, but they said he was like a fixture in that era when Bobby and Terry Labonte were racing. A very personable guy. A lot of people are going to miss him. Richard Petty sent out something for him too. So definitely going to be a big miss there. Also, good evening to all, says Bumblebee. Good evening, Bumblebee, says in between the lanes. Is it true Joey ran more than half the race on a single set of tires? I don't know about a single set of tires. I know that the left sides he probably did run close to half the race on the left side since he only took right side tires when he got up front in one of the pit stop cycles sequences or something like that. So probably the left side tires had probably close to half the race. And that's a good point to bring up because if you can run half the race on a set of tires, I think it is safe to say that Goodyear is being way too conservative with the tires. So yeah, not good, not good. Let's see. Bumblebee, what's up? Ola B says one wise guy. Like the hat, BB says in between the lanes. So yeah, I got this hat at Martinsville from the RCR trailer for who wants to guess it down in the chat. How much money do you think I spent on this hat? I'll give you guys a second because I know there's a delay. Chrome Diesel saying, "What's up, BB? How you doing? Doing good. Doing good, Chrome Diesel. Hope you're doing good as well. Myself, $25 says in between the lanes. You are actually high, so it's going to be lower than 25. We're going to keep this going though for a little bit here. Cody Ledger says 75. No, it wasn't an F1 race, so it's not 75. Is Martinsville the worst track on the schedule with the current Cup car? Ooh, that's a good question. What is the worst track on the schedule with the current Cup car? Would it be? A lot of people hate Texas, so Texas would have to be in there. A lot of people do not like Richmond. I'd have to throw Richmond in there. Pocono always has a lot of detractors. New Hampshire. I like all these tracks, by the way. I like, but New Hampshire has a lot of detractors, and I would say Martinsville. So it'd have to be between those ones. Texas had a pretty good race recently, so if you pull that out, I would go New Hampshire, Pocono, Martinsville, and Richmond would probably be your four there. And it looks like Softer Tires is going to win here, so I'm just going to end this poll, and I'm going to start another poll. So that's a pretty good question. Worst track for the next gen and these tires. I'm going to go Martinsville. Richmond. Should I do Texas or Pocono here? Or New Hampshire? Let me know down in the chat. Oh, Phoenix isn't a good track either. So do you that's a tough one. Texas and Phoenix. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna take New Hampshire out and put Texas and Phoenix in there. Because I'm just going off of what I've seen here. Phoenix is like one of my favorite tracks, so that's interesting. But yeah, you guys are right. I'm pretty easy to entertain, so there you go. There is the new poll question. If you guys want to jump in there, and in a rare moment of quality, I've actually finished a poll question while the live stream is going. Make Goodyear have softer tires wins with 62%. Give Mo Power Baby 25%. Use the aero and traction compound 6%. Continue to deflect and do nothing, also 6%. So there you go. Overwhelmingly, Goodyear have softer tires. It seems to be the winner there. In between the lanes, you hit it right there, my friend. $15. This had $15. I got it at Martinsville at the RCR trailer. So shout out to the RCR merch trailer, getting things done, giving people good deals all day, every day over there at Martinsville. Dale Jr.'s cars. Dale Jr.'s running the Cars Tour on Saturday night. So yeah, it's Goodyear Speedway. Is it New River? I forget what the actual name of it, but they call it Goodyear Speedway. Down there, sort of near the beach, I want to say. I've been there. I haven't been there for a race, but I've been there one time before, just driving by it. Let's see here. Ain't no fun dealing with Chicago traffic here, says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, I bet. Chicago traffic, I think, is right up there with DC traffic, if I'm not mistaken. I've not ever been to Chicago though. That's just what I'm told. DC traffic is real though. I can vouch for that. I've had to drive through that before. If the other thing about DC is I was in the city and I used the metro or whatever and we walked most everywhere. But I'll tell you what, if I had to drive in the city of DC, I'm glad I don't have to, because they've got stoplights that are like, they look like crosswalks. They don't have the stoplights in the city hung on power lines or whatever. They've just got them. They've got them. They literally look like crosswalks, but that's where your stop signs are at. Or your stop lights are at, I should say. And that might have got me. That might have got me if I was driving in the city of DC. So I can't recall another city that's got the stoplights set up like that. So that's interesting. And I don't know why they have them set up like that. That's an interesting tidbit about DC. If you've never been, if you're driving in the city, look for the stoplights, because they're on the ground. In the city. If the tires didn't save the Bristol race, do you think it would have sucked also? Hard to say, because they definitely saved it, right? Like it's had the most passing. I think that race had like it was some, I can't even pull the number off the top of my head, but it was some like incredible amount, like 1,000+ passes in that race or something, like actual real passes, real time passes or something like that. However they work that metric. So it for sure. The tires definitely saved that race. But Bristol's always been a pretty good track. But the tire fall off for sure shows you what old school short track racing looked like. If Stewart Haas Racing sells a charter after the season, which team buys a charter? That's a good question. First of all, do we know the charters are coming back? Because that's part of the things that are being negotiated. But let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that the charters are coming back, which I feel fairly strong that they will. I would have to say 2311 or Trackhouse would be the leading candidate to buy one off the top of my head. That being said, I don't know that Stewart Haas is actually selling one. Like, this is just a lot. There's a lot of smoke, but for sure, Tony Stewart has come out at points and said they're not interested in selling. Be 2311 and Trackhouse, but do not sleep on Legacy Motorsport and RCR because I think those two could slip in there. RCR probably wants an extra charter to get Austin Hill some seat time. To get Austin Hill into the Cup Series, and Legacy probably wants an extra charter to probably lure away another driver. The hottest free agent, of course, is going to be Kyle Busch once again when his contract runs up with RCR if they don't get him re-signed. So I could see Legacy making a move and Toyota making a move to get Kyle Busch back in a Toyota. So don't sleep on Legacy either. So those would be my two sleepers, but obviously Trackhouse and 2311 would have to be probably your two favorites. That if Stewart Haas Racing is selling a charter, those would probably be your two favorites to be buying one. Glad the sports world will be mellowed out this weekend. I had a finals in b-ball, NASCAR in Savannah, shooting pool at the same time. Yeah, you had the men's and the women's Final Four going on in basketball. And then you had, like, basically, it was also opening day for baseball, right? Baseball season's just getting started, so a lot of people were fired up about that. Then you had the Martinsville race. Like, just you're right. It's that time of season where just everything is going on, and we're not super far away from preseason for the NFL. And the UFL, United Football League now. They'll probably be starting up if they haven't already started up. I don't know. I don't really keep track of it. Phoenix isn't a good track either, says Napa Racing Fans. Yeah, we've added Phoenix to the list. Poll question is up. Worst track for the next gen and these tires: Martinsville, Richmond, Texas, and Phoenix. Right now, Phoenix leading the way with 43%, Texas at 19%, 10% for Richmond, and 29% for Martinsville. $40 I can do without Talladega. It's always a crap cooler shoot, says Baron Von Weebs. Like, everybody has the type of track that they like, and people have the types of track that they don't like. So that's for sure always going to play into it. And it's never cut and dry as to, who likes what track and whatever. But some people like road courses, some people like super speedways, some people like short tracks, some people like intermediates, and then there's some people, weirdos like me, that like Pocono. So it's all in what you like. All in what you like. Let's see. Texas and Phoenix is Napa Racing Fans vote. BB, are you hosting a radio show? No, I'm not hosting a radio show. I've gotten flamed for my microphone for a long time on these live streams. So I'm finally using the microphone. I thought, here's the story. I thought forever that this microphone, which you can see now, you used to not be able to see it, but the way I've got the camera now, you can actually see it. It was hidden by the screen. But for the longest time, I thought this microphone was hooked up. I hadn't gone into my menu and selected this as my microphone to hook up. So I've been using the microphone that's actually through the computer. And fairly enough, a dude named Spicoli, he's going with the Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He flamed me for it pretty good, and I was like, "What are you talking about, dude? Like, I've got this nice microphone set up." I was like, "What are you?" So I laughed at him, and I was like, "Okay, thumbs up." I laughed, and then I went just for the sake of it. I went and listened to it again, and I was like, "You know what? It does sound kind of tinny and echoey." So I went and looked at my settings. I Google searched what to look for and all that stuff. So I looked through all my settings, and I was like, "By God, he's right." I was using the microphone in the actual computer instead of the microphone that I've spent good hard-earned money on, and the Rodecaster Pro here that I'm running it through. So hopefully it sounds better today. And not only that, when you guys tell like hilarious jokes, we've got the laugh track for Gen Z, because I know Gen Z likes a good laugh track. So there you go, Gen Z. We've got the old laugh track for you when something sad happens. We got the sad trombone. When something amazing happens, look at that. We got applause. When I tell one of my hilarious jokes, boom, we got that. And what's this one? Yeah, very scary. And when I tell the rest of my jokes, that's going to be most of my jokes right there. So there you go. We've got sound effects. We're super fancy now. Everything's lovely. I do have some other sound effects on there, but they're not, for whatever reason, they're not working today. So maybe we can get those working one day. But yeah, that's enough about that. Let's get back into racing. Let's see, worst. And I've got to have the headphones on now because otherwise there would be like an echo of my voice. So now we're full YouTuber streamer douche mode. We've got the headphones on. We've got the microphone not in front of my face. You can still see my face. So we're not full douche. I don't have the right there where it's all like that. So hopefully that'll be good. So let's see here. What's up with Almirola winning and purposely not driving like he has been? He punted a few. I think he's just ready to go. First off, he's always been good at Martinsville. I saw a few people talking about that in the comments on something, but he's actually always been really good at Martinsville. I looked up his stats. I know we didn't do a pre-race, but I still prepared like we were going to do a pre-race because I don't know. I'm just a glutton for punishment. But Eric Almirola's lifetime finished results or whatever at Martinsville, pretty good. He's pretty solid there. I didn't get to see the race though, so I couldn't speak on why he's punting people because I was at Orange County. Phoenix looks good, but it's not good racing, says Duke Chronic. It's one of the best fan experiences though, so like I do like Phoenix from that perspective. I know a lot of people don't like watching it on TV though, I guess. So I don't know. I'm pretty easy to entertain. I actually like the race at Martinsville, but I saw enough online where people were not happy with it. And aside from the battles for the lead, they were 100% right. There was, except for Ryan Blaney who could drive through the field. Other than him, like once the battle for the lead was over, like nobody else was battling for position because they knew they couldn't pass. And Denny Hamlin brought up a good point. Austin Dillon, without power steering, was able to stay on the lead lap for like God knows how long when Denny Hamlin was leading the race early on. Howdy from the Great White North. What's up, Robin Marks? What's up, Canada? 91 is a long life. Mel Brooks is 97. Dick Van Dyke is 98. I did see Dick Van Dyke. He was out in public. Somebody snapped some pictures of him. Richard Petty now seems young, a brisk, swift, spry 86 for the King, Richard Petty. Logano wore the crap out of his tires, and it almost worked for him. Yes, that was a big move by his crew chief there, Paul Wolf, I believe, and they really got it going there. Big call to get him that track position, and he was able to hold on to it, and that benefited him for the rest of the race. Softer tires by Groovy Man, says Baron Von Weems. Yeah, so you could put grooves in them too. I only had 4 options, but yeah, definitely putting grooves in the tires would help as well. Watkins Glen is bad too with the next gen, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, that's the other thing. So part of the short track package is the same thing as the road course package. And let's be honest, the road courses have sucked almost as bad. Part of it is the stage cautions. Don't get me wrong, but the road courses have sucked just as bad as the short tracks. But a lot of people don't like the short track or the road courses anyway. So you're not going to have to twist their arm to say that those are bad. I'm sure I'm the opposite of that. I love a good road course. You can blame Forza Motorsport for that. That got me addicted to road course racing. I'm sure everywhere had traffic issues, but hell is sitting on I-4 while the out-of-state plates try to figure out what Disney exit they need, says Say Kyle. So yeah, I haven't actually experienced terrible traffic in Florida, but I've only ever been on A1A. For the most part, I've only ever been on A1A and 95. So as long as 95 is not clogged, and A1A is typically, with the times I've been driving on it, has not been backed up. A1A, Beechwood Avenue, Miami, I think. Miami on the scene, in case you didn't know it. What's up? Say Kyle, says B. Talladega, take it off the schedule and make it a virtual race, allowing all the teams to stay home on their couch, says Baron Von Weaves. So Baron Von Weaves, flaming Talladega, who has 2 dates. Let's see. Say Kyle says, what's up, EB? Roger Riggs, hey, BB, didn't someone say it would cost a lot to increase the horsepower in Cup cars? Saw where Harvick said they need to increase it to 1,000 horsepower. Yeah, that somebody was NASCAR, and everybody else that actually builds the motors, the teams and stuff like that. have come out and said the exact opposite. So they strongly disagree with NASCAR's lie there. Of course, the running theory that most agree with is NASCAR is keeping the horsepower low so the Honda will come in because Honda wants the horsepower low. Once again, NASCAR is using Honda as a scapegoat there. NASCAR wants to keep the horsepower low, just like NASCAR, in my opinion, on both of those. NASCAR is using Goodyear as the scapegoat because if NASCAR told Goodyear to make a softer tire, Goodyear would just go and make a softer tire. Point blank, period, end of conversation. That's my opinion, and that's the way I feel about it. If you disagree with it, I completely would love to hear your opinion about it because maybe there's something I'm missing. I'm not ever locked into an opinion because there's always different perspectives. So let's see. The broadcast, as usual, wasn't good either. Cartoons, zoom up shots, missing wrecks and passes. Fox needs to get their act together. Yeah, their camera work is just, I don't know what happened to it, but Fox's camera work is so far behind NBC's, it's not funny. And I'm not saying that NBC's is perfect. If the races at short tracks were good still, would fans be complaining about the tires not lasting 50 laps at Bristol? Well, I think with I want tire fall off. Bristol was a little bit extreme. I would like the tires to fall off like they fell off at Bristol, but maybe put more meat on the tires so that they can go more than 50 laps. But I think once the teams know that tires will fall off like that, they'll adjust the setup. So I think the Bristol tire is perfect. And once the teams adjust to the setup, those tires will probably go 60, 70, 80 laps. Like, actually, you saw the end of that race. I think, who was it, Brad Keselowski or somebody? They went 70 or 80 laps or something like that on their tires. So that's what I'm saying. Once the teams know they fall off like that, they'll get more laps out of them. Try I-25 in Denver at rush hour, 80 to dead stop, 300 yards, then 1 mile in an hour, says Mark Barnum. Larson took over the points lead from Truex. That's going to be a good battle all season. Yeah, the points are starting to heat up about a quarter of the way through the regular season. And the interesting part about the points, you're looking at the top, but if you look at the bottom, Daniel Suarez is currently out of the top 16, and he's got a race win. So that's going to be really interesting down there at the bottom if he doesn't, jump back up into the top 16 in normal points. Break out the water trucks, mount up the wet weather tires, and turn them loose, says Aaron Flynn. Especially if you get some freezing conditions, just go spray the water out there in freezing conditions. Then they're racing on ice. Let's make it a free for all. Let's get after it. I'm joking, of course. Before going with tires, gear ratio needs to be fixed. You shouldn't be shifting 14,000 times at Martinsville. I think with tire fall off, it would actually kind of neutralize the shifting, but it might make it worse. It might make the shifting even more. You might need it even more. You never know. It could go either way. What will happen if Hamlin wins at Texas and SMI track Sunday after his spat with Smith? Says Napa Race Fans. Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to touch on. I guess most people know it, but I'll go ahead and say it. They have kissed and made up. They both apologized. They both agreed that they got personal and it got out of hand. Like I was saying in the video the other day, I think they both, got their egos bruised, feelings hurt, however you want to say it. I said egos bruised. That set off a lot of people. So they both got their feelings hurt. They both said things that they didn't necessarily want to say, and they both acknowledged that, and they both apologized to each other, and they put it behind them. They're cool now. So that is good that they have made up there. And the other thing about that is Denny Hamlin went on his podcast and said the main reason that probably that triggered him more than anything was they're in these negotiations to get money, and the tracks, the SMI tracks and, all that are getting X amount of money or whatever. And so part of the underlying reason of why that irritated him is they're getting so much more money and the teams aren't getting more money. So that seems to be the underlying issue. The bigger issue, it wasn't just he was upset that the repave didn't go properly. I care less. Talladega just turns me off. Says Baron Von Weebs. Will Penske buy SHO? Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of people that don't like super speedway racing. They don't see it as real racing. They see it more as like a what's the game in Vegas? Roulette, where you just throw the ball in there and pick a color and a number. So a lot of people see it like that, just a roll of the dice or a roulette wheel. Will Team Penske buy SHR charter? Oh, that's a good question. Team Penske is another one you probably shouldn't sleep on. I feel like Roger's happy with what he's got going on with 3 cars, though. So, but you never know. You never know. He's been in a spending mood recently. He bought a whole series. UFC 300 is Saturday. Yeah, that's going to be a big event, like a huge event. A lot of people were stoked about WrestleMania. I live streamed during it. That's on me. That's 100% my fault. So, but I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just so dead tired. I was like, I gotta get a live stream up. I can't let everybody down. I didn't even think about WrestleMania being on at the same time I was live streaming. So appreciate all you who joined that live stream and all you who watch WrestleMania. I don't blame you. I understand. It's all good. I like that Denny is standing up to the higher powers, speaking up for the teams. Yeah, I love that Denny Hamlin speaks his mind. Even in that particular case where he probably got a little too personal and went over the line, in my opinion, and in his opinion too, because he did apologize for it. So, but yeah, I don't want to discourage him from speaking his mind, because a lot of other drivers are not doing it. United Football League is what the XFL and the other one became. USFL, I guess. Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather. Who will win? Floyd Mayweather all day, all night. Talladega is my Graceland. He would have soundly beat his brother earlier. He already boxed. He already boxed Logan Paul. Jake Paul's the bigger one. But yeah, Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather actually knocked him out and just held him up. Yeah, that was Floyd, if he wasn't playing around with him, he could have finished him pretty easy. Talladega is my Graceland. I love that place. And I'm a big Conor McGregor fan too, but I'll be honest with you, Floyd Mayweather was playing with him too. He made it interesting so that they could have a rematch and make some more money. Floyd Mayweather is no dummy when it comes to fight promotion. And neither is Conor McGregor. And whether you love him or hate him, the Paul brothers either. Interesting fight with Mike Tyson. And now let me get back to racing, because I know not everybody came here for that. Talladega is my Graceland. I love that place, says Duke Chronic. So yeah, like I said, some people like certain tracks, some people like other tracks. Well, RCR eventually improved in performance. The 8 car had moments, but not great results. Pit crew not helping. The 3 has been nowhere to be found. Been a rough start. Been a rough 2 years. Rough 2 seasons for the 3 car. The 8 car, they were good at the beginning of the race. Had a lot of speed there, and then at the other tracks, at the other part of the race, somebody told me he pitted for tires when a lot of people didn't pit for tires. That's how he got to 24th or something like that. But whatever happened, once he got to 24th, he couldn't, make up the time or whatever. But then at the end of the race, he had just as good a speed as the leader. So hopefully RCR found something there at the short track. But yeah, they've been good everywhere else, but the short track has been holding them back a little bit there. So I think they'll be good everywhere else. That being said, I think Fox's coverage is also killing the perception that fans are getting as well. We missed 80% of the good stuff while they are off in La La Land. That's a fair point. I didn't hear the sound effects, says Robin Marks. Okay, so maybe the sound effects aren't coming through. Like I said, I'll have to keep troubleshooting this thing. I don't know. Let's see. What's going on with the new BB headquarters? Not a new headquarters, just building a new studio in another room. So let's see here. Eric Almirola finally gets a full win for the 20 JGR car after the Hamlin replaced him at Milwaukee in 2007. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, he definitely gets to finish his win in the seat this time. Yo BB live chat. Hiya fellas and ladies, says Roofer. Why has Fox always got the camera in Nutbuster's car? Says Mark Barnum. I have no idea. Mark Barnum saying, what's up to Roofer? Eric is not racing for a championship. He's just going for wins. Yeah, so that allows him to be more aggressive too. BB rocking all of his hats lately. I'm trying to get back into the rotation of getting all the hats out here instead of wearing the same one every single time. Because I've worn it almost for like a year now. The Black 5 hat underneath the Earnhardt hat, I've worn pretty solid for over a year now. T-Van, cheers, brother. I miss Cole Pern being Truex's crew chief. I think a lot of people miss Cole Pern, but he'd had enough of it. Let's see here. Not NASCAR related, but I binge watched Rich Eisen's show today on YouTube. Rich Eisen's a good show. Him and Dan Patrick, that used to be my go-to back in the day when I was working IT. I would just put the radio on, and those guys came on back to back. And when I had days off, they were on the 101 on DirecTV. Back when I had that. Hey, T-Van, says B. What up, Roofer? Says T-Van. A1A basically runs the entire length of the state. Traffic is normally smooth unless there's a major event. Roofer, what's up, my man? Mark Barnum. What's up, Mark Barnum? Says Bumblebee. WrestleMania 40 was awesome. Triple H changed the WWE, and no one is missing Vince McMahon, says Bruce Reed. Yeah, hopefully no one does miss Vince McMahon. If the allegations are true, we will let him have his day in court. But if the allegations are true, Not good, not good. So we'll leave it at that. We'll let the system play out. Be fair to everybody involved. Win number 206 for Joe Gibbs Racing's Xfinity team at Martinsville. Says in between the lanes. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I feel like I'm spoiled. Basically, every time there's an awful race, my driver is in victory lane. So I haven't seen many bad races the last couple of years. Another awful race that people didn't like was his other win at Martinsville when he won in the all gray Raptor car. So that was one of the other ones. Bumblebee, appreciate it coming through. Like there's the merch store right there, dropped by Bumblebee. Bruce Reed, I about died when the Undertaker showed up. Manufacturers don't want cars blowing engines, and Goodyear doesn't want tires blowing. I mean, that's for sure, but pushing the engines to safely where some of these engine builders are saying safely they can push them, it doesn't seem to be like an issue to them. So I don't think we'd be going through engines. Hamlin has beef with SMI because only 14 of his 53 wins have come on SMI tracks. The other 39 are all NASCAR privately owned tracks, says Cody Ledger. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's what's playing into it. Maybe there's even deeper issues than just the money split. All NASCAR has to do to fix things is have a prime and option tire, require teams to run at least one of each set, let them pick what they want to start on, immediate passing, problem solved, says Say Kyle. Yeah, so do basically what F1 does. That would be an interesting concept. I'd kind of be here for it, like because that would bring tire selection and strategy back into it. I'm for anything that's strategy related. Suppose the only difference with Fox and NBC, you are the producer, the camera crews are the same throughout the season. That would be helpful. That would be helpful, but unfortunately, that's just not how it's going to work out. How do you think? But maybe with NASCAR having their mobile station they're setting up, maybe NASCAR setting up something like that in the future. How do you think Haley Deegan did Saturday, finishing 18th with a busted front end? Says Nicole Wembley. I think for her situation, basically getting wrecked before lap 20 something or so, having a torn up race car, I feel like an 18th was a pretty respectable finish. It showed a lot of determination. Like, she say what you want to about her. You might not think she's good. You might think she's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Say what you want to about her. She didn't quit, and that's a big thing to me. A lot of race car drivers in that situation, they're like, screw it. The car is messed up. I'm just going to go out here and ride around. She didn't just go out there and ride around. She went out there and still competed. And because she still competed, it's not the greatest finish in the world, but it's a hard-fought 18th. And sometimes those hard-fought 18ths make a difference at the end of the year, because basically the teams get paid by where the car number finishes in points. That's how the owners get paid their money. So sometimes at the end of the year, that might be 2 or 3 positions in the points. So that's extra money for the team. So that's a big thing to have a driver that won't quit. So kudos to her and every other driver that when they get in a wreck, they don't quit either. Byron might have 3 wins, but Chevy knows those Fords are coming. Like, once again, I will agree with you, Roofer. The Fords are starting to put it together. They're starting to figure out this new dark horse Mustang. And being live at the track, it looked like I could actually see. I don't know if they've changed it, but it looks like I could actually see the Mustang on the grill now. So I don't know what it looked like on TV, but I could actually see it at least on Ryan Blaney's car. I could see the little horse again. Driving Maryland sucks now with the bridge being out. 95 has become a parking lot. I bet, man. I can't even imagine. Hopefully they get that thing up as fast as possible. I know it's going to be a while, but that's a terrible situation. What tire did they run at Martinsville? Was it the same as Phoenix? Maybe they'll bring something better to North Wilkesboro. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. I couldn't tell you. You'd have to ask somebody that's actually on the teams. Because what we do, the short track stuff we run, we're either running like F45s at Orange County or ST2s, I want to say, at South Boston. Those are the only 2 tire codes for Hoosier that we're running. But I think it's more track specific when it comes to Goodyear and the NASCAR tire. I think they've got a few more codes to pick from than we do. Bumblebee, I think Austin was supposed to show up, but the scheduling wouldn't work, so they used Taker instead, says Bruce Reed. Yeah, and that was interesting too. They played was it Dean Ambrose music, and he's still tied up in AEW, so they did like a fake out with somebody's music. I haven't seen it yet, but I saw some chatter about that on the Twitter net. The Wood Brothers car is basically the 4th Penske car, even though it's nowhere near as competitive as the 12 or the 22 or even the 2 right now. Says Napa Race fan. Yeah, that's a fair point. But technically, Roger could buy another one because technically, under the Penske banner, they only have 3 actual charters. So he could pick up another one and basically have a 5-car team. Wasn't RCR talking about becoming a 3-car team? Says like this, like that's what I'm saying. Don't sleep on RCR. If Richard Childress wants a 3rd charter for Austin Hill, he'll go out and get him a 3rd charter. Or he could possibly work something out with Colleague because Colleague is right there, sort of between new RC. It's behind the old RCR, which is the museum now, and it's sort of down there where ECR Engines is at, which is in between. I guess basically in between, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a hot minute, but it's in between, I think, ECR and the new RCR shop. Let's see. When Denny and Marcus were beefing, it was like 1 a.m. They were both probably had a few. Says Duke Chronic. I agree. That given the time of night, that was actually, I can't prove it, and it's just speculation and theory. But at least one of them, I would say, had probably had a taste of the liquor, like Jim Leahy, everyone's favorite trailer park. What was he? Trailer park supervisor, Jim Leahy. They were letting the liquor speak. GTD, the GTD Mustang project. Remember that, folks? Says Roofer. All right, we'll write it down. We will remember that. If RCR could get their short track package together, LOL, says Victoria. I'm telling you, like, look, they're really good everywhere else, and they're not necessarily god awful at the short tracks. At least the last 2, but well, they might have been. I can't remember Richmond, but they're improving. They're right around the corner. Kyle Busch, if it hadn't have been for whatever happened to him to get him in 24th place, I couldn't tell what was going on live, but somebody said he did a pit stop there that put him sort of, I guess, off sequence. But if he hadn't done that, I think he would have had probably a top 10 finish. And at the end of the race, he had top 3 speed. If you saw the stat that I put out on the other video, I can't remember exactly what it said right now off the top of my head. Logan Paul is actually good in the WWE. Says like this, like, yeah, he knows how to work a crowd and get over. If horsepower is low because of Honda, I hate Honda, says Chrome Diesel. I think NASCAR is just using them as a scapegoat. The same way NASCAR uses Goodyear as a scapegoat. Like if NASCAR told Goodyear to bring them a softer tire, Goodyear would bring them a softer tire. Like that, I feel like they're just using it as a cop-out. Because they think they know better than everybody. In my opinion, they think they know better than everybody else, and we're going to fix it with aero, or we're going to fix it with traction compound, and they just get red-assed and red-faced every time that something NASCAR doesn't work. They are notorious for that. Let's see here. It's getting to where Kyle Busch will need to win to get into the chase, says Duke Chronic. You said you weren't feeling the hot dog Sunday. I just well, you saw what happened on Discord, so I'm not going to talk about that here because it's not that serious. But I was not in the greatest of moods, and then the race started, and I just got busy like filming stuff and trying to keep up with things, and I just I didn't eat anything. I had some other things for energy, which were posted in the video, and not too many of them, but I did it responsibly, but like. I forgot to eat, and then driving home, I just grabbed some McDonald's. So that was that. Yeah, it wasn't anything against the hot dogs. I just forgot about it. Let's see who will win first: Chastain, Logano, Elliott, or Busch? That's a good question, Jamie Schweitzer. I would pick out of that group. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. Probably will win first. But they're all good picks. Like they're all running pretty good right now. But I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. Probably gets the win first. On Race Hub yesterday, Reagan was saying Suarez should be in the top 10 in Larry's power rankings for a win, even though the Atlanta win is his only top 10 on the year. Trackhouse has been off also. Yeah, just a little bit, not crazy, because Ross Chastain is still top 10 in points. I want to say he's probably like 8th place in points, if I remember off the top of my head correctly. Logano, Jamie Schweitzer says Roofer. So Jamie, stupid Roofer going with Logano. Did you have any Martinsville hot dogs, BB? I did not have any Martinsville hot dogs. So yeah, it took me a long time to get into the track, and yeah, and we'll leave it at that. Let's see. Hello, and I was just I was in a bad mood for a hot minute, and then I just went and I worked it out. And then the race started, and then I was basically just trying to film as much as I could, trying to get some cool shots and stuff. Hello guys, I can't watch the stream today, but I'm definitely going to be on next Tuesday. That's all good, Lovey. Hope you're doing good today. Blicken Surfer on the hub today said Wallace is performing better than Reddick. McMurray responded for one race. Reddick has been better, the better driver. Three straight top tens, says Napa Racing fan. And so yeah, Drew has probably a little bit of a soft spot because he was Bubba's crew chief over there for a little while at Richard Petty Motorsports. So he's probably happy to see his dude doing good there, or one of his former dudes doing good there. But yeah, Martinsville is it's always been a really good track for Bubba Wallace. It's not going to surprise me when he finally wins a race there, because it's just one of the tracks that he just for whatever reason it suits him. He's always been good at Martinsville. I think he won his first truck race there, and I want to say he won 2 truck races for KBM, driving for KBM in trucks. Jerry Baxter was his crew chief back then, I want to say. Is the money team going to be is the money team going to be back this year, says T Van? Oh, that's a good question. I feel like they will be if they can get the right situation going. When did SMT data start being available for everybody to see? I didn't watch the sport for about a decade. So do you know why this became a thing? It was probably 3 or 4 years ago, I want to say, when the SMT data started becoming available for everybody. I can't put off the top of my head, I can't put a number on it, but it's been within the last probably 4 to 5 years, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 2017 or 2018, somewhere in there. If just guessing off the top of my head. I think it takes away from the skill of driving. That's always been a big. There's been two schools of thought on it. Some people love it because you get all the data, and some people hate it because all the other teams get your data. So it makes in some people's opinion, it makes all the drivers drive the exact same. So some people don't like it because of that. Any notable entries for this weekend's number for Sunday? Says one wise guy. I don't know. I have not looked at that. I usually wait till it gets closer to race time to do that. Deegan owes Brendan Poole one. He basically drove through her. That's what I heard. I still haven't seen the highlight of it. So yeah, I know a lot of people were not happy about that though. A lot of Haley Deegan fans were not happy about that. Did your second car come home clean? Yeah. So the 92 of Lane Woods, that he finished in 4th place. So he did a great job. He was not happy with his finish. But he was being hard on himself, I should say. We were all stoked for his first race in the Charger class. He did a great job. He's so young that he can barely reach the shifter to get it into all the gears. But he did a great job. He's been absolutely doing great in go-karts. And last year he ran Mod 4, and this year he's running the Charger class. So he did a great job, but he was being hard on himself. There's some things in there that he wanted to clean up, and he thought he could have got a better finish if he had cleaned those things up. So that's positive to see that he was being hard on himself like that. But in reality, he did a great job and got a 4th place finish. Like, think about it. His very first race, he almost podiumed. So great job by Lane Woods. And unfortunate for Jason Barnes, he either had the throttle hang or the car popped out of gear in qualifying, essentially, and backed it into the fence and destroyed that car. So unfortunate for Jason Barnes. Just an expensive wreck too. So just nothing. No silver lining on that one. Just unfortunate for him. But we had a fast car before that. We were top 2 or 3 in speed in practice. So we were hoping to get a pole there, and then for just something strange like that to happen, just a bummer, you know. So let's see. Brandon Jones missing a shift on the restart, took out a lot of good cars Saturday, says Napa Race fan. Yeah, whenever somebody misses a shift, it's always a chance for a cluster. Austin Hill racing the 33 for RCR at Texas on Sunday. Yeah, that's going to be a cool deal for sure. I think Cindric might be the test car, says Roofer. There's always been that theory at big teams that one of the teams is a test team. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Roger has never been a patient man, so it's going to be interesting to see how the Austin Cindric situation plays out. Then he had too many Jamaican Me Happies while tweeting. It could be Roofer. It could be. My go-to is the White Russian from the Big Lebowski. So that's my go-to when I'm sitting and chilling. Aloha, BB. Glad I caught you live. What's up, Dennis Gillespie? Glad you're on here as well, my friend. the 24 paint scheme looked really good. He should use that as his primary. Says like dislike. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. HMS sucks. Says like dislike. I personally still want to see a bologna burger truck at the tracks serving bologna burgers. Says T-Van. Well, I would have to buy like a food cart to pull behind my truck, because I'm not doing. I've built a food truck before and sold it, but without ever actually running it. But I learned through that process that if I do the food truck route, it's going to be a food trailer, because I don't want to be married to the vehicle that all the kitchen equipment is in. So it would be like it'd be sort of like one of those hot dog grills that you pull behind and you just pop up. That being said, then after I bought the $3,000 or $4,000 pop up hot dog thing behind it that would have the bologna and the hot dogs in there, then you would have to pay the fee to be a pop up vendor at the event, which is pretty hefty. Then I would have to weigh that out with, am I going to make enough money to cover that? So that it would be a lot of logistics, and so maybe one day when I retire from doing late model things with my race car friends, we can look at that. But right now, I've got enough jobs. I don't need an extra one. But it's on the radar. I wonder who has more money, Roger Penske or NASCAR? Oh, that's a good question. Let's see here. I can't remember. I'll save it for that video. 2311 used the number 50 at COTA, so maybe the money team is gone, or maybe they were doing the money team a favor by running the number to get them some finishing points or something like that. You never know exactly what's going on. I'd like to see Morgan McClure and Yates put a car back on the track at Darlington this year, or a super speedway. Morgan McClure would be an interesting. Is anybody running out of their old shop? I want to say somebody runs out of their old shop. Is it maybe Nice? Is maybe Nice Motorsports running out of the old Morgan McClure? I can't remember. I think somebody actually uses their old shop, though. I'll have to think about it. Roofer dropping the merch link. So if you want to check out the merch link, it would be much appreciated. McClure's son passed at 21. So I doubt he will ever come back, says Peanut Butter Hero. I still don't like the Texas since the reconfiguration, but thankfully in the playoffs or the All-Star race, the Blaney debacle with the window net in 2022 was dumb. Caution came out for the final lap for the green-white checkered. Yeah, that was the caution was horrible, and then them not letting him put the window net back up was bad too. So yeah, that was that whole situation was rough. Douglas Toronto says, I'm glad Matty D found a new ride, but I wish he would get back to Cup one day, says Douglas. Hey, he's certainly got the talent. Like for whatever reason, nobody has yet wanted to take another chance with him in the Cup Series, even though he's been of all the recent drivers in the 21 car, he's probably been the fastest. Yeah, there is that. Austin's dad is president of Penske, so he will get the Custer treatment at worst and go back to Xfinity, but I don't see that happening considering who he replaced isn't winning, says Peanut Butter Hero. Yeah, that's a fair statement. That is a fair statement. I think he'll get a lot of leeway, but that's what I was saying. That's why to me it's going to be interesting, because Roger Penske is typically not patient, but if he's patient with Austin Cindric, that'll be an interesting development. That being said, I think I might be in the minority, but I don't know. I think Austin Cindric's a heck of a talent. I think once they figure it out over there, I think he'll be fine. So I think if you remember in the Xfinity Series, it took a few seasons for Austin Cindric to get going. But once Austin Cindric got going in the Xfinity Series, he was nasty, man. Like, he was really good. So I think once he puts it together in the Cup Series, he'll be fine. And typically, if you look at it, it takes about 3 years for a driver to get his feet up under him with this new car. I know there are some exceptions like Carson Hocevar. He's going to be a guy that picks it up really quick. Ty Gibbs is another guy that's picked it up really quick. But for guys that have a longer learning curve, like apparently Austin Cindric does, I think he'll be fine in 2 or 3 years. Or after this year, I think you'll start seeing him come into his own. If he doesn't come into his own toward the end of this year. Joey Logano is a good example. It took Joey Logano several seasons to get good. But once he got good, I mean, you've got a heck of a driver over there at Penske, almost a steal. And just it's still crazy. The crash bar is what they call it now. Is Talladega after Texas? I don't know. I just know Texas is next. I don't memorize. I know some people can. I can't memorize the schedule like some people. I have a friend who makes pickles belong. It's awesome. Says Dennis Gillespie. I like pretty much all types of pickles. Dill pickles are my favorite. Sweet pickles are also good. Fried pickles. What was the guy from Forrest Gump? Bubba from Forrest Gump, where he just goes off on shrimp. I like pretty much every kind of pickle. I was at the auto show this week, and unfortunately, no NASCAR show cars to sit, but the Lexus brought there the IMSA Vassar Sullivan RC 350 to the show. So yeah, Bozy Tatarovic's car that he pit crews for. I did see him post that, so that's cool that you actually got to see it up there. That's really cool. Let's see, Mr. Pearson waving. What's Jimmy Johnson's next race? Says like dislike. I don't know, but they released the car. It's going to be the Advent Health 84, so it's a pretty good looking car. Matty D is going to be. I don't know exactly what racetrack it's going to be. I'll have to go back and look. I know I made a video that had all of them, all of his starts in there, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Matty D is going to be a pastor in the motor outreach in the near future, says Peanut Butter Hero. Well, look, faith is an important thing to him, but I think he's still got a lot of racing in front of him. But yeah, one day I could definitely see him doing that. Believe it or not, Jeff Bodine was at the track, and he announced that he's a preacher now too. I never saw that coming. I never knew he was. I never knew he was a person of faith. So that was a new one on me. He's got a new book out he's promoting too, and that's one of the things he was saying in one of the pre-race interviews. Blaney was the last great driver for the Wood brothers. Yeah, last great driver, but I was talking about recently. De Benedetto was solid. Burton has done near nothing. Burton looked awful at Martinsville. I don't know what was wrong with the car. Like maybe he was out of power steering like Austin Dillon, but he looked as lost as last year's Easter egg out there in the 21. And hopefully Harrison Burton puts it together this year and gets some good results. But it was a rough race for him at Martinsville. I might have said South Boston earlier. It was a rough race for him at Martinsville. He used to race at South Boston. That's probably why I was thinking that. Ross Chastain will be in the Xfinity booth at Texas, I believe, says in between the lanes. So that'll be cool. We'll see what Ross has. I think he'll have some good insight. I think he's funnier than people give him credit for. I think once he lets his personality out, I think a lot of people are going to like him. They did a pretty good job of showing it in that documentary series. Wood Brothers still stuck at 99 wins since Blaney's first Cup win in 2017 at Pocono. So yeah, since 2017. Or since after 2017, the best driver, I should say, has been Matty D in the 21. I think Zane Smith was moved up too soon, says Mark Barnum. Could be, but they took a swing on him, and, they'll probably stick with him, and he'll be fine. Was he moved up too soon, or is Carson Hocevar just having a really good rookie season? That being said, Josh Berry is in front of Carson Hocevar in points right now. So Josh Berry having a really good season too. Not necessarily a ton of people talk about it. What a beautiful car. That Mobil 1 number 4, all gold car. That was a good looking car as well. Yes, Talladega after Texas, Dover after that. So yeah, Talladega, then Texas, Talladega, and then Dover are the next 3. Appreciate you there, Napa Race fan. Jimmy Johnson's next race is Texas this Sunday. Okay, so he is in the Texas race. I couldn't remember if he was in the COTA race or the regular Texas race, but I knew he was in a Texas race. And since COTA's already passed, we know he wasn't in the COTA race. If you like sweet pickles, you need to get your head examined, says Stupid Roofer. That's without question. I need my head examined. I'm a YouTuber. So yeah, that's probably accurate. Sorry, pickled bologna, says Tennis Gillespie. Okay, thanks, Napa. Says like spicy beard and butter pickles, spicy breaded and buttered pickles. Says one wise guy. Frank the Tank from Barstool was at Martinsville and apparently was the Grand Marshal for the Xfinity race. That's pretty cool. I don't follow Barstool, but I know they got a huge following, so good on them. Barstool is activated pretty well at these short tracks, so really cool. Where is Danica Patrick these days? Says Jamie Schweitzer. Thank you for the super chat. And there is the fist bump, my friend. She's making basically media tours. I know she does the IndyCar coverage. I don't know if she's still doing the F1 stuff, but I know she was on the IndyCar coverage for a while. She might be just F1 now, but she mainly just does podcasts and stuff now. And her most recent podcast was with Kenny Wallace, where she talked about 4 drivers she hated racing against. And of course, once again, she brought up Martin Truex Jr. So that was, she just finds ways to continue to be in the media, which is, good on her. That's her job now. So good on her for keeping her name trending and stuff like that. That being said, a lot of people don't care for the things she has to say, especially when it comes to Martin Truex Jr. fans. So she's almost to this point become somebody who just occasionally will say something for shock value. In my opinion, I can't prove that, but it just seems like every once in a while you'll be like, "Hey, where did Danica Patrick go?" And then all of a sudden she'll pop up with for more or less a controversial take on something. That's been that most recently. That's what I've seen from her. I feel the only way RCR will get better is to have a better driver in that number car. That way Kyle can work with sharing notes and things like that, says Escobar. So that may be that is a popular theory. I still think Austin Dillon is a good driver. I know I'm in the minority on that, but he has won the Truck Series championship. He has won the Xfinity Series championship back when before it was the playoff style or whatever. So what people consider a real championship in some people's opinions, I'm not saying everybody believes that, but what people would consider a traditional championship, he won it in that format. So I think the talent is absolutely there. Do I think he's going to be the next Dale Sr.? No, but who is? But I think he's a good, solid race car driver. And I think if you look at the stats, that sort of pans that out. I mean, 4 wins, they're not all luck. People never want to give the guy credit, and they always say he's a terrible driver, but then they never want to bring up the fact that he won a championship in the other 2 series. So where else do you want him to go other than Cup? They just don't want him. They just don't want him to be in the 3 car. They want somebody in that 3 car that's going to win all the time, and that's really, in my opinion, what it boils down to. So they come up with he's Silver Spoon and this, that, and the other thing. Meanwhile, some of these same people will pull for another driver that his father is well off to, or has a racing lineage, but they'll overlook it for that driver, but they won't overlook it for Austin Dillon. So Austin Dillon, just one of those drivers that's in a tough position, but I do think Austin Dillon's a good driver. That's just the way I feel about it. But a lot of people don't feel that, and the last 2 seasons they've used that as ammunition to say, hey, he's not good. So he has had a bad this season, and the season before have definitely been his least productive in the Cup Series. Ross has been on PRN several times and was great unless he gets nervous on TV. I think people will be surprised at how good he is, says Dirty Death. Yeah, I think he's going to bring a lot of insight. I'm with you. Definitely could make the case William Byron moved up the Cup too soon in 2018, but it paid off in the long run, says Napa Race Fan. That's what I'm saying. If it's one of those deals where the team is going to stick with the driver, sometimes it pays off to bring that driver up early and just get them acclimated to the system. And we are celebrating. We're celebrating their 10th Super on a live stream here for Jamie Schweitzer as well. I didn't know that. I just saw that pop up there too. So appreciate you there, Jamie Schweitzer. Made it back home to the depths. Had BB on the whole time, but can chat now. Hello, everyone. What's up, Bach? Glad you made it home. In the rush hour traffic over there in the big AZ. Let's see. I can see Deegan going into the 21 car in about 3 years, says like dislike. That could be a situation that develops. You never know. You never know. Let's see. Hosevar is the wave of the future. Him and the Gibbs kid, says Roofer. I don't disagree. I think we had this conversation on the live stream last time, but Carson Hocevar has the potential to be really big, like Tim Richmond, really big. Like he's really good on the microphone, and he's just naturally good in the race car. Like he's got those abilities where he's one of those guys where Tony Stewart talks about it this sometimes. I think it was on the Dale Jr. podcast. There are some guys you can put in any race car and they'll get 90% out of it, and then they'll figure out the other 9% as they get more seat time. Carson Hocevar might be one of those guys. I feel like Kyle Larson's one of those guys. Tony Stewart was definitely one of those guys. AJ Allmendinger is one of those guys. AJ Foyt is actually who I meant there. Was another one of those guys. Dan Gurney. You can go down the list. Mario Andretti. There are certain guys that you can just sort of put in any race car and they'll be just kind of naturally good. They're just sort of naturally good. Lewis Hamilton, I feel like, is another one. But yeah, I think Carson Hocevar is one of the. Tim Richmond was one of them. Carson Hocevar is going to be another one of those type guys. I think, and with his personality, he has a chance to be super huge. And that's why I'm said on the last live stream, if Chevrolet has a brain in their head, they will lock up Carson Hocevar long term. She's lost her mind, says Roofer, talking about Danica Patrick. Mark, what's up, man? What's up? Glock saying, what's up to Mark? Barry had a terrible pit stops the last 2 weeks, or the finishes at Richmond and Martinsville would have definitely been top tens. Yeah, he's been bitten by the pit bug as well. Him and the 8 car have had some bad pit stops here recently. So once they clean that up, I think you'll see him in quite a bit better contention. She might catch a slander suit, says Peanut Butter Hero. Quattro, what's up, my man? Hope you're feeling better, my friend. Let's see. Ross knows and has raced with most of the drivers in the Xfinity Series and drove for several small teams. He has a lot of stories that he'll throw in there. That's really cool. Yeah, that's true. He has. He was one of those guys that had like 12 rookie seasons. Like he drove for underfunded teams, and every single year people were like, Ross Chastain's a rookie. Alex Bowman was another one. Alex Bowman had like 12 rookie seasons because people just kept forgetting that he drove for lower level teams, and they didn't think about him. Ross Chastain was in the same book. Glock saying, hey, Quattro. Crystal Earnhardt wrote a book about John Earnhardt. Great book, says Dennis Gillespie. I have to check that one out. I was not aware of that. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but Jeff Bodine has a book out too. So if you're interested in that book, that might be one you want to look at. And the Daily Downforce has a 75. They've released their 75 magazine. If you enter code BB75, you will get a free sticker set. And I can't wait to see where those sticker sets go. So go to dailydownforce.com and check out that. If you're into NASCAR 75 drivers, they have several alternate covers. If you're a Cale Yarborough, a Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, Richard Petty, David Pearson, a lot of Bill Elliott is one of them. So yeah, if you're interested in that, they've got their 75 greatest drivers of all time and why those drivers are their 75. So check that out if you want to, and put in code BB75 and get yourself that sticker set. Not only my sticker, but I think Break Hard, Eric Estep, all the guys associated with the Daily Downforce, I think have a sticker in there. NFJJ and who am I forgetting? Let me know who I forgot because I don't want to disrespect anybody. I shouldn't have named anybody because now I know I'm going to forget some people. Yeah, I think Danica Patrick just being controversial for attention. We call this edgelording. She is edgelording. Glock. That's a good way. She's becoming edgelord. What numbers will Stuart Haas Racing keep if they sell 2 charters? Probably the 14 and the 41, if I had to guess. Dale Jr. is Silver Spoon, says Peanut Butter Hero. There you go. I will let Peanut Butter Hero field the Dale Jr. Silver Spoon haters. That is from him. I'm not getting into it. I'm not calling drivers Silver Spoon because I personally don't care. I'm more interested in what they do on the racetrack. I don't care what situation you're born into, as long as you work hard and do your best. That's what I'm more interested in. I'm not saying he's Silver Spoon. I just think whatever decent talent he had came and went. He just hasn't cut it in the past 3 years, says Escobar. And that's some people have that take, and that from their perspective is a fair take. I'm still I'm a RCR homer, man. So what can I say? I'm a Richard Petty homer, and anybody named Kyle, I'm gonna think that they've always got when they're on their downside. At some point, everybody has they have a peak and a valley. When they're in their valley, I'm still gonna be defending them, saying, hey, I think they still got something left in the tank. So that's just me, but I know my biases. So yeah, that's probably a fair perspective. If you think maybe he's peaked and he's on the way down, that might be a fair perspective. I'm on the other end of it, so I have to say that. Did you watch the Danica interview with Kenny Wallace? BB, she's nuts. Says Reefer. I haven't had a chance. Like I was saying on the other live stream, and like I said on the video last week after Thursday, I really don't remember anything after Thursday other than just like working on race cars and making videos. Like that was my whole life. And so now I'm trying to catch up on everything. So maybe I will get a chance to watch that one. Austin has talent. Ty has the Silver Spoon, but in my opinion, I think it's time for both of them to give it up, says T Vance. There you go. That's maybe a fair take. I don't know. Are SHR and Ford expected to split at year's end, says Douglas Serrano. I would say it's like at least 90% probably going to happen. And the way it's playing out, I think SHR would go to Chevrolet as things stand now because Honda wouldn't have a car in Cup yet, and neither would Dodge. So it's going to have to be one of the 2 other manufacturers that are left at that point. So Tony Stewart, seemed like he wanted to leave Joe Gibbs Racing as soon as they switched to Toyota. That's just always been my feeling on that. So I feel like it'll be Chevrolet. And if it is Chevrolet, that's when you can bring in the rumors about maybe Junior joining in. So a lot of speculation, but it is what it is. I watched the Kyle Busch episode today. Anything with Danica, I can't watch, including F1. Says Peanut Butter Hero. What kind of race do you think we'll get at Indy this year with the tires? Hopefully a good one. Hopefully a really good one. Like I hope everybody wanted the Indianapolis Oval back, and a lot of the Indianapolis Oval races I remember were just blowouts. So hopefully we get a good race at Indy. I don't know with this new package if it'll race like Talladega, Texas, and Daytona, or if it'll race like a mile and a half, or if it'll race like Pocono, because typically it races more like Pocono than anywhere else. So my guess would be see at Pocono is something similar that you would see at Indianapolis. Danica got lucky on being hot, but if you watch her talk, it's hard to watch, like most, says T-Van. Peanut Butter Hero, get ready for the pitchfork. Yeah, the villagers are restless. They're coming after you with pitchforks and torches. NASCAR could make teams have only 2 full-time teams. Yeah, that would be an interesting thing. That's basically what F1 does. Tony Stewart always called Joey Logano Spoon. Says Jamie Schweitzer. Put who you want to in the 3 and see if they do any better. Swap KB to the 3, and you would see very little change, in my opinion, says Ron Russell. So there you go. Ron Russell on team Austin Dillon with me as well. Kyle Busch wanted the 3 car, and they actually had a conversation with the Earnhardt family, and the Earnhardt family did not want Kyle Busch driving the 3. So as much as people want Kyle Busch in the 3, go talk to the Earnhardt family, because that's who ultimately put the kibosh on it. According to Kyle Busch, I forget what podcast he was on when he was talking about that. It might have been Pat McAfee, or it might have been a different one. But yeah, you can look that up, because he actually said that. That's where I got that from. Best part of Danica is when I can't read that one, my friend. Let's see. Mark Barnum, not a fan of Danica Patrick. I can say that. I like the old provisional days of racing, says T-Van. Yeah, I miss when qualifying mattered. Now that you have charters, qualifying just doesn't have any stakes anymore. One way of keeping the cost of charters down would be for NASCAR stipulating if you don't have a team finishing in the top 20 in points, then you lose your other charters or something like that. I've always thought a relegation system would be better. Like all the teams, like make the Xfinity cars the exact same thing as the Cup cars. Allow teams in the Xfinity series, if they want to. You wouldn't be mandated to, but if you want to in the Xfinity series, you can buy a charter, and maybe the last 5 teams in Cup points with charters, they're relegated down to the Xfinity series, and the top 5 teams in the Xfinity series that have charters move up to the Cup series next season. And I totally stole that idea from European soccer, or the English Premier League soccer. That's how that's set up. So I think that would be the best way to do it. Will NASCAR listen to me? No. So there you go. Will Texas reconfigure to another 1.5-mile super speedway? We don't need another one. One is already pushing it. 8 super speedways is way too many, says Never Race Fan. Yeah, that's the problem. That's why we got so many 1.5s. Like the 1.5s were popular for a while. Then we got way too many 1.5s, and so hopefully NASCAR gets the message and stops doing. You want a good mix of all the tracks, right? So you don't want too many road courses. You don't want too many short tracks. You don't want too many 1.5 miles, and you don't want too many super speedways. So hopefully NASCAR does something to avoid making every track the same, because they'd just be repeating the 1.5 cookie cutter. That's what they called them back in the day, 1.5 cookie cutters, like they had back in the day. This way, owners with deep pockets won't drive the price up when they bid for charters. Yeah, that's also a good point too. Are you working a race this weekend? We'll be at South Boston this weekend. Orange County has a race as well, but I will not be at that one. We're just going to do the Sobo race with Craig and Hardy in the limited car number 9. It's kind of painted up like a cross. It's got the Kyle Larson colors on it, but it's got a Chase Elliott 9 on it. So that'll be our car in limited. So look out for him. Wishing him good luck. I think it's going to be his first limited start as well. So wish him good luck, and hopefully he brings that thing home in one piece. Heck yeah, Ron Russell says, Roofer, I live in Indy. Probably my favorite race was when Menard won. Yeah, that was a super special race and really cool. He did it in the RCR 27 as well. That was probably it was cool because it was Menards was on the car. Nothing wrong with him driving for the Wood Brothers. Not taking anything away from that. But him driving the 27 Menards colors and winning the race in the Menards car was that. I think that added to it a little bit there. Do you find it interesting that everyone has a problem with the tracks after William Byron wins at them? He also seems to be able to do exactly what everyone else can't on those tracks. Has been redacted. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a fair point. Like, is William Byron? Is he Matt Kenseth 2.0? When he wins too much, we need to change things. Is he going to be Matt Kenseth 2.0? Let's keep it YouTube monetization friendly. We have a Discord for the hot takes, says Glock. I'll post a link for it. Charters mean a sponsor gets in the race because the car makes the race. It's for sponsors. Oh yeah, 100%. Look, I'm not the charters. The charters have good aspects and the charters have bad aspects. I just miss qualifying meaning something. The charters. If you're a team owner, the charters 100% make sense. If I was a team owner in the NASCAR Cup Series, I would be screaming at the top of my lungs, "You better keep these charters. We need these charters," because NASCAR, unbeknownst to themselves, I don't know why they didn't foresee this, but once you make the charters, you basically have unionized the teams, and you've given the teams more power and more value. So once you have that power and value, if you're a team owner, you've got to hang on to the charters. No, BB, don't hurt the Xfinity car too. Says like dislike. Well, maybe they could make the Xfinity car the Cup car again. You would. I just said make the Xfinity car the same as the Cup Series car. I didn't say which car you had to be picking from. Just the car would have to be the same. Moved up, the other team moved down. You could sort of make it like late models do. You have late models and you have limited late models. On the late model side, the engine is more freed up. So the only difference between the late model and the limited late model is basically how restricted the carburetor is. In this case, it's fuel injection. So they would have, some way of managing it from a fuel injection standpoint. However, they chose to do that. There is the Discord link from Glock there. Let's see. The link is also good for anyone watching the replay, says Glock. Configure Texas like 1995 Atlanta, no complaints. BB, you get Tony's autograph. I did not get. Tony Breidinger was in the race, the late model race that we didn't make because we wrecked in qualifying. But she was in that. She finished a solid fourth place there, so she got her fourth place there. And I think she got some stuff like that. I don't think adding 1.5 miles to the schedule was much a bad idea, as giving them all 2 dates. If they had one date, it would make them unique. Also, the races took away from Wilkesboro and the Rock and Texas, says Napa Racing Fan. That's a fair point as well. And also, even though they called them cookie cutters, they weren't all the exact same. So that's also another fair point as well. Quattro re-upping. So fist bump to you there, Quattro. And he says, thanks for helping me get into motorsport. Yeah, no problem, Quattro. Glad you are into it now. Glad he's been to more races than me this season, I want to say. So or at least the same amount. Maybe more. I don't know. But yeah, glad to have you with us. The Bulldogs, the James Madison Bulldog Quattro. It took me. I couldn't remember the mascot there. So the JMU Bulldog Quattro. Glad to have him. He's an absolute legend over there at JMU. If you don't know, now you know. Let's see. NASCAR is listening, BB. They are reading the chat. This live chat is what they're looking at. Yeah, but they're not looking at it for the right reasons. I've got like the NASCAR homeland looking at me. Although that's probably another word you can't say on the Dukes, the James Madison Dukes. Okay, there you go. I should have remembered that because I'm a Duke fan. So yeah, he's a legendary Duke over there at James Madison. Sorry about that, Quattro. Major fail on my part. Let's see here. Bring more horsepower, and that will equal more tire wear, says Napa Racing Fan. Yeah, that's definitely one way of doing it, and that's been the one way that NASCAR absolutely refuses to do it. So we'll probably just see them make make Goodyear bring a softer tire, if I'm guessing. Let's see. Or another way to bring the cost of the charters is how they pay them each race. Let the payouts be a little bit closer. Yeah, that's something you could look at. I'm not privy to all that information, so maybe that'll come out one day. Let's see. The Dukes says Duke Chronic. So yeah, Duke Chronic, spelling it with Duks, like in his screen name as well. So yeah. NASCAR purist live stream BB says stupid roofer. Yeah, we typically tend toward to want the sport more like the 80s and 90s on here. I have noticed that. So there is that. But we're always welcome to other opinions as well. Like I say all the time, our perspective is always open to interpretation. So we're always, if you got a good counterpoint, drop it in here. We're usually pretty friendly. I can't remember a time where we weren't. If I was not friendly, I apologize. So I will say that. 24 million viewer peak for the basketball game this weekend, says Mark Barnum. The women's one or the men's one? I'm not sure which one. I know Caitlin Clark. She was raking in views. She became a superstar overnight, or not overnight, but over the past couple of years. The women's had 24 million. So yeah, there you go. That just proves when you have a personality and a talent or something like that. Sometimes when all those things come together, you can draw eyes to a sport that typically doesn't have a lot of eyes to it. You see it from time to time. Just in anything, like Travis Pastrana, like he's not necessarily even in a sport per se, but anything Travis Pastrana is associated with, you see eyeballs go to. Tiger Woods in golf. A lot of people never even cared about golf, but then Tiger Woods started playing golf. It brought a whole lot of more eyeballs. You just have people with certain star qualities from time to time, for whatever reason, when they're doing what they're doing. Magic, and sometimes it's two people. You have a, and I think that's part of it with Caitlin Clark. It sort of recreated what made the NBA great. You had Magic versus Bird, and then you had Caitlin Clark and is it Reese for LSU? Over there at LSU, they sort of had a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson thing going on, so that elevated the women's basketball thing, just like in the NBA back, I guess, in the 70s. I don't know, was it the 70s or the 80s when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were doing their thing? So there you go. UConn won a men's basketball championship. Says in between the lanes. Yeah, no matter what. UConn last 2 years, right, back to back, right, for UConn. So good on them. Danny Hurley, Bobby Hurley's brother, gets his second national championship. Roofer says T-Van can be a jerk. They're having some fun with each other there. Reconfigured Texas back to what it was. It was a very good track. For some reason, they thought flattening 1 and 2 was a good idea. Yeah, I don't know. Bring back Texas World Speedway. To destroy the housing development there. Bring back Texas World Speedway. The 199 says Duke Chronic, talking about Travis Pastrana. She is so much better than the other players, says Duke Chronic. The Masters is this week, says Napa Racing Fan. Yep, back to back for UConn. I think Texas turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Should have 25 degrees of banking, says Douglas Serrano. More banking with this current setup seems to produce better racing for sure. I'm a pretty decent ball player, but there's not a chance in heck that I would go against Caitlin Clark. If that, says Roofer. So yeah, she's got the height and reach on me. So I don't know. That would be an interesting matchup. But I'll tell you one thing: I haven't played in like 10 years, and I don't plan on going and doing it anytime soon. So they can keep that. Those days are behind me. My knees and ankles feel it every single day. So they can keep that. And that looks like we're at the end of this one. So I will check you guys on Sunday for the pre-race, and then Sunday night for the post-race. But until then, peace.